crowd we got here tonight. What a crowd we got tonight to open up the Drew Pearson Show right here at Henry's Tavern, the Shops of Legacy right here in Plano. And to help me open up tonight's show, we have the lovely Miss Kelly Webster from ESPN Radio fame. How are you, Miss Kelly?
I'm very well. I'm looking forward to breaking down the Cowboys' win. Always a little more fun after they take a win.
Yeah, you and Mark will do that. Also, we'll have an interview with Paul and Jenn and Mark.
Mark is also going to join them. They caught
Who
up
do
with
they got
caught up with Chuck and Gene, which are two members of Testament.
Wow.
And one of my favorite segments is coming up. A special guest. It is a total thrill for me, especially.
It certainly is, and a thrill for me as well, because we got the snake in the house right here at Henry's Tavern. You know who he is. Kenny Stabler from the Oakland Raiders is with us tonight, right here as part of the Drew Pearson Show, Miss Kelly.
Not to take anything away from Michael Nast, social media director. He'll get things wrapped up with you toward the end of the show.
Yes, he will, and he'll be taking your questions throughout the show via Facebook, Twitter, and all that other social media outlets that he's connected to. So we got a great lineup lined up tonight, Miss Kelly, but we can't do these shows without our great sponsors as well.
Let's be sure and thank Dodge City of McKinney.
Of course, and Albertsons, the official grocer of the Dallas Cowboys, and a special shout out to Carol Roberts.
Lombardo's Men's Apparel.
And you can't watch the games without a TV from Best Buy. We want to thank them for being a sponsor of the Drew Pearson Show as well.
And of course, Henry's Tavern here in Plano at Legacy, right off the tollway. Thanks for hosting us each week.
Yeah, that's the home of the original 88 burger. Come on out and try it. But I'm about ready. I'm all loose. You all set?
I'm ready.
Well, let's get this party started.
Point.
Because the Drew Pearson Show starts right about now. All right. Wow. They jamming in here, huh, Mark? Kelly?
Big
crowd. Full house here at Henry's Tavern where we do the Drew Pearson Show every Monday. And one of my favorite segments is the Sports Talk segment, where we get to talk about the Dallas Cowboys' previous game. And today, guys, we get to talk about a victory. Isn't that nice? After last week's dismal loss to the Lions, and they come back and they beat the Minnesota Vikings. What do you think of that victory, Kelly?
I like the end. I like the fact that this team put together their longest drive of the season, which was 90 yards, and it turned out to be the game winner. I liked how they managed the clock. Tony Romo had a completion all the way down the field. So Dwayne Harris, I love that kid, especially on special teams, but I love that he caught the game winner. He always seems to step up when they really need him the most, and I really like that about him. So I thought it was a thrilling win, and good for them, because I kept feeling like the air was going out of the stadium where they were going to here we go again, Romo's going to throw a pick, here we go again, we're going to lose in the final minute. And I was really happy that they didn't do that.
Me too. By the way, this is Kelly Webster, my Sports Talk co-host right here in the Drew Pearson Show. And this big guy here, you know him already, that's Marc Colombo. What did you think about the game as well, Mark?
Listen, a win's a win.
Yeah.
And these days, against the Minnesota Vikings, they came in and played tough football.
Yeah.
They played a great running game, great running attack. Christian Ponder played really well, and the defensive line got after it a little bit. And it really impressive, though. The Cowboys stuck with it, came out in the second half, especially early. Jason Witten just taking over in the first drive of the second half. It showed some true leadership, and the way that Tony Romo capped off the game. They clearly didn't have their best performance.
Right.
But to get that win, I feel like like they stole that win. It's like the Lions stole it from the Cowboys last week.
Yes.
They got it right back.
Well, the offense kind of did what they had to do to win, but they only ran the ball 9 times. What did you see as to the reason? Was it the play of the offensive line?
Yeah, as an offensive line, 9 runs. I mean, it's embarrassing. you need to call the run more. You have to.
Embarrassing 9 times. You're
It
right.
is
that
embarrassing. You know, and DeMarco Murray had, a 25-yard run?
27 yards.
27,
yeah.
sorry. And you thought you were going to see something, maybe some of the St. Louis game again, and then it just didn't happen. You know, as an offensive lineman, you need to take it upon yourself to make those holes. They weren't doing that, but at the same time, you have to call it more consistently.
Yeah.
A balanced team wins. You look
Yeah.
at the Denver Broncos, you look at the New England Patriots, they run the ball when they need to. You know, even with great quarterbacks who can pass the ball all over the field, they run when they have to. And the Cowboys aren't doing that right now. They need to get that rectified.
Yeah, you know, if you're going to be a playoff team, especially when you get to the late in the season, the cold weather games, you need that running game. You're going to have that balance. But, Ms. Kelly, they didn't, seem to bother them because they were throwing the ball pretty effectively. What do you think of Romo's play and the play of the receivers throughout the game?
I thought Romo did a fine job. I didn't have really any issues. He did have 1 interception. Okay, I can live with that. The defense had 2 takeaways, so they still led in the turnover margin, so I'm okay with that. The receivers had 8 drops. They just seemed to have one of those days. They just couldn't hang on to it. And Dez had 2 of those. But, for the past few weeks, we've been hearing from the Cowboys that they are taking what they are given by the defense. And sometimes that means they can be more balanced. Sometimes that means they have to throw more. But I think my question for both of you, as former players, I just wanted to ask you, so what do you do in that situation if all you can really do is pass and to sort of abandon the run is going to be to your favor, but it's important to be balanced? What do you do as the offense, as the play caller?
Well, I think you just have to go with what's working. And for that particular game, yeah, we want to have balance, but, Minnesota Vikings have a pretty good defensive line. They're very difficult to run the ball on, and, when Romo was throwing, they were bringing a lot of pressure. So maybe that dictate the play calling as far as the running game is concerned. But there is no question the strength of this offense is the passing game.
Yep.
And so if you got to live with that, let's live with it. But there's no question as well, Mark, they're going to need that running game somewhere along the line.
Yeah, they have to have it. I've been saying it all year. I feel like a broken record, but they're going to find ways to lose games if they cannot run the ball effectively, especially like Drew said, late in the game. It's just it's not acceptable. You cannot pass the ball the whole game. And what you see is it puts a lot of pressure on your offensive line. Now you see some of these line stunts that are coming in. They're getting hits on Tony. They're creating sacks and pressures, whereas if you run the ball, you take some of that pressure, especially off the tackles, and it's just they have to do it.
Yeah, they got to do it. Let's flip it over to the other side, the defensive side, Ms. Kelly. What do you think of that defensive performance?
I love the no-names.
Got them.
I love them. I'm always on their side. I really cannot help it now. My favorite guy this week is Everett Brown, who signed with the Cowboys 6 days ago. He'd only been with them 5 days as of game day. 2 tackles, a sack, forced a fumble. This guy was in the Charlotte area opening a smoothie shop with his fiancée when the Cowboys called and said, "Come on down.
Right on.
You're Everett Brown."
Come
and
on
what
down.
did this guy do? Immediately makes an impact. I know there's problems. I get it. It seems like every quarterback that comes in here has a fabulous day, a record-setting day. But somehow they just keep finding a way to do just what they can do. And again, like I said, 2 takeaways.
Right.
Orlando Scandrick with the interception, the forced fumble that turned into a touchdown by Nick Hayden. I just like the scrappiness of this defense because they are held together with stitches and duct tape right now.
They certainly are, and they really bring the effort. I think that's the difference, huh, Mark?
Yeah, Marinelli is right now is my favorite coach in the NFL.
Where's
right
he
now.
been, right? We needed him years ago.
I know the technique that he's teaching these
Yes.
guys. You watch these, like a George Selvey. He just dominates out there. Nick Hayden, guys, I feel like he could take anybody.
Yes.
I almost want to come back and play D-line and have him coach me because I think he'll do something. And these guys play hard for him.
Yes.
They go out there and they work. You see them the whole game. They push it. In the end, they came through with some big pressures, big sack, fumble.
Yeah.
Unbelievable job by the defensive line. Hats off to Rob Marinelli.
Amen. Let's talk a little bit about the special teams so we could give the player of the game, Dwayne Harris some props. Man, this kid just keeps making plays, keeps stepping up. I don't call him a wide receiver, a kick returner, a punt returner, or a cover guy. I call him a football player, and that's what he does. He steps out there when you need him, wherever you need him. He's there, and he'll make a play for you.
And leading the team in tackles on special teams, not just returning.
Right.
The
He's
football.
a nuisance in his coverage. He's the first one down. He's making plays. He's bringing people down. He's all over the place.
And I love that he is getting some attention, because sometimes these guys get really overlooked if you're not like a Devin Hester type that's getting into the end zone every week. But I love that fans are aware of him and they're giving him his props. And Dan Bailey, that guy is such gold. Literally, if they could call a field goal from 60, I'm not sure I would even think twice. I'd be like, oh, well, they must have seen him in warm-ups. He's gold, that guy.
Yeah.
I love him. He always makes it. And isn't that fantastic to have on your team, that you can rely on someone over 50 yards?
Yes.
Money.
Yes. Mark, you're impressing special teams. Do you ever play special teams? Other than blocking on extra points, I know you didn't come out on that.
No, listen, field goal block. I play field goal block.
Okay.
I have a few career field goal blocks, but that's back when you could rush on the center.
Yeah.
I bet Brian Urlacher would push me over the center, and I just get my hand up.
Yeah, get big.
Big Cat Williams taught me how to do it. He said, you got get big, but you got to get skinny through the gap a little bit. It was unbelievable technique by Big Cat Williams. He had 12 blocks in his career.
Wow.
But I played the wedge too, the 4-man wedge before it became illegal. And you see some of those hits. You have those wedge busters come down. That hurts.
Yeah.
That's concussions.
So you were trying to do everything you could do to get off those special.
Everything
Especially
I could
off
do.
of that team, right?
Everything I could do.
Well, we got the New Orleans Saints coming up. They lost to the New York Jets. They traveled up there. They got beat. They're struggling with their offense a little bit. Rex Ryan had a great defensive plan for them up there, and they pretty slowed Drew Brees down. Can we slow Drew Brees, Gresham, and that offense down when we go out to New Orleans next Sunday night to play those Saints?
Well, I guess my question is the Jets' defense that much better than the Cowboys' defense? Because I don't know if the Saints had an off day. I don't know if the Jets' defense is that good. So all I know is they were held under 300 yards. I don't normally see that in the box score for the Saints. They're usually fairly dominant offensively. So, playing in New Orleans also, talk about a home field advantage.
Right.
I've been to games there. I cannot hear, sitting this close next to a colleague, we can't even have a conversation. It's so loud. It is a tough place to play. So they're definitely going to have their work cut out for them. And this defense is going to get tested once again. No matter what's going on with the Saints, the defense is going to get tested again because a couple of guys are nicked up again.
Yes, we all have injuries every week in that NFL. Just hope that it's not too serious for your particular football team. But Mark, did you have an opportunity to play in the dome down there in New Orleans and deal with that crowd noise as an offensive lineman?
I did. It's very, very loud, and if the Saints get going, it becomes even louder.
Right.
I worried a lot about this game this week against Minnesota. It just didn't look right out of the gate. The Cowboys were really slow.
Yes.
I don't expect that this week in New Orleans. I expect the Cowboys to come out with some fire and try to take it to this New Orleans team. But on the flip side, New Orleans is trying to bounce back. And Drew Brees, it's tough to hold him, somewhat down for a couple games. I expect a big game from Drew Brees. The defensive backfield for the Cowboys have a really huge challenge, and hopefully they can live up to it.
You think we can win it?
Last week I wasn't quite sure, but after seeing the Minnesota game, the Cowboys really have something to prove. I think it's going to be close.
What about you, Miss Kelly? Any prediction?
No, I'm not going to make a prediction on Monday, knowing I don't even know who's going to be available.
Right.
I want to see if DeMarcus Ware is going to finally be back. That would certainly be helpful. But even the newer guys that they have on this defensive line, 2 of them were nicked up. One came out really early in the game. He was new to the team. Nick Hayden went in and out, so I'm always worried about their health and just the newness of them. But I don't know. It makes me nervous. Just the fact playing there is so difficult. So it's going to be very, very tough for them to get this win.
Well, that Saint defense has really improved. It's going to be tough for us to put points on the board against them, and of course we'll have to slow them down. But I think we can do it. You heard it from Mark, you heard it from Kelly, you heard it right here on the Drew Pearson Show. This is our sports talk portion of the show, and we'll be right back with more of the Drew Pearson Show right after this.
Hi, this is Paul Salfen from the Drew Pearson Show, and we are here at Henry's Tavern in Plano, Texas. And I just pulled up in the 2014 Ram 1500 Crew Cab Sport. Let's look at this beautiful exterior. We've got a flame red clear coat. We got bifunction halogen projector black headlamps, sport tail lamps, dual rear exhaust with bright tips, 20-inch polished aluminum wheels, a 5.7-liter Hemi V8 with 8-speed torque flight automatic transmission, and look at that beautiful interior. We have heated and ventilated black leather trimmed bucket seats, heated leather wrapped steering wheel with audio controls, a Uconnect 8.4 AM with touchscreen navigation, a backup camera, HD radio, and 1 year free Sirius satellite radio. There's also voice recognition and Bluetooth streaming audio. And I always love the rotary shifter. That's a feature they should have come up with years ago. This is a beautiful car. This is the 2014 Ram 1500 Crew Cab Sport. And you can find it at Dodge City of McKinney, dodgecitymckinney.net.
All right. As the Drew Pearson Show continues right here at Henry's Tavern, got some great games going on the TV. Monday Night Football, the Bears and the Packers. A lot of people here, a lot of TVs, great food, but nothing better than our guest that we have now on the Drew Pearson Show. We want to thank him for taking the time to be with us. Hey, y'all, this is Kenny Stabler, the Snake, Oakland Raider quarterback.
Thank you, Drew.
4-time Pro Bowl MVP, NFL Offensive MVP, Super Bowl champ from Super Bowl 11, the Oakland Raiders. I got to tell you, Kenny, thank you for being here, first of all, but I got to tell you, man, as a kid, I was a Raider fan, man. You know, I just liked the way you guys play. I was never a Cowboy fan growing up in New Jersey. I was a Giant fan, a Jet fan, and you guys played some great games against the Jets. But I was always a Raider fan is because the way you guys did it. Raider Nation is something special, isn't it?
Yeah, the whole situation, Drew, was just a great time. You know, you're playing for a Hall of Fame owner. You're playing for a Hall of Fame coach. You're playing with a group of Hall of Fame players. Our offensive line was a great group. Art Shell, Upshaw, Dave Dalby, John Vella.
Yes.
Casper, Hall of Famer,
wow.
Freddie Bolitnikoff. Cliff could outrun half the cars in the parking lot. He's like
Amen.
a 4.2 40 and big fullbacks. And playing for John, playing for Madden was so much fun. He just kind of pitched us the ball and said, go play. And it's a simple time then and great team.
Yeah, you had some, I look at the receivers. You had some great ones there. You know, 2 Hall of Famers. Of course, your tight end, Dave Casper, and the great Fred Bolitnikoff, who I've never seen drop a pass ever. And the only one that didn't do that is me. And then the great Cliff Branch. You know, I think he's a 4-time finalist for the NFL Hall of Fame. I can't believe he's not in. But, man, what a cast of receivers you had to throw that ball to.
Yeah, it all starts up front, you know, like I said, that great offensive line, you know. We had all the tools, all the tools that it takes to win. And a great possession player in Freddie Bolitnikoff. He was the prototype Wes Welker.
Yes.
You see now, great possession guy, great hands, big heart, tough. Casper and Ray Chester, we played a lot of 2 tight end, 2 great tight ends. And like I said, Cliff was a 4.2 40, a 4.2.
Wow.
And so you had speed, you had great possession guys, great offensive line, big, strong, tough fullbacks. We were an inside power running team, and so much fun. And when you win, it makes it fun.
Yeah, you guys had a real cast of characters there. You know, you had Big Ben Davison, you had Ted Hendricks, you had Gene Upshaw, the 3 receivers we mentioned, Mark Van Egan, all these guys. I mean, yourself. Who was the craziest and weirdest of all those guys?
So many of them. You know, the whole secondary was on the work release program just to play. You know, we had a tough group of players. You know, Skip Thomas at cornerback, 2 lethal safeties,
Yes.
George Atkinson, Jack Tatum, Willie
Yes.
Brown, a Hall of Fame corner, and the characters of Otis Sistrunk.
Oh, yeah.
You get John Matuzak, Phil
Yeah.
Villapiano. I mean, cast of characters on both sides of the ball, and you know, the biggest character of all was our coach, John.
John Madden,
He
right.
just pitched us the playbook, said go play, go have fun.
Yes.
And a great owner that gave us everything that we needed, any kind of player that we needed. And it was a great time. The 70s was a fun time. We were a little bit of a victim of the great Steel Curtain team in Pittsburgh. But a fun team, fun to play with, a bunch of great guys.
Yeah, you had about 15 years in the NFL, right? Is that
Played 10 years in Oakland.
with Oakland, 10
Went
with
to
Oakland.
Houston, went to Houston. 2 years there with
Yeah.
Bum Phillips, Earl Campbell,
Yeah.
Kenny Burroughs, Mike
Wow.
Renfro.
Wow.
Good teams.
Good team, yeah.
And I finished up in New Orleans 82-3-4 with Bum again.
Right.
And finished up 1982-3-4 in New Orleans.
But your greatest years, of course, with the Oakland Raiders, and that's why you were second team all decade behind Roger Staubach and tied with Terry Bradshaw for the all decade team in the 70s. And I still can't believe you're not in the NFL Hall of Fame. But you had your greatest years with the Oakland Raiders. You were involved in 3 plays that are a big part and prominent in NFL history. The Immaculate Reception, the Ghost to the Post, and the Holy Roller. Hey, but here, the Immaculate Reception, it almost didn't happen, but you scored a touchdown before that play happened where Franco Harris picked it off the ground on a pass from Terry Bradshaw. But you scored before that to put that game in that type of situation. Tell us about that.
Probably 3 or 4 minutes left in the game, you know, and with that great Pittsburgh team, I mean, they were so good. You get L.C. Greenwood and Joe Green,
Yes.
Dwight White, Ernie Holmes, Jack Lambert, Andy Russell, Ham, Mel Blount, great.
Wow,
yeah,
absolutely.
Donnie Shell and Wagner, 2 great safeties. I don't know, the last maybe 2 or 3 minutes of the game, Drew, we got a drop-back pass call, and they come all out man-to-man type, not a blitz, just a man-to-man type coverage. They run the corners off, run the safeties off. I get outside somehow, and we score and put us ahead 7-6, I guess. And I look at the clock, and it's like yesterday with 1:04 left, and Bradshaw gets the ball back. Incomplete first down, incomplete second down, incomplete third down, one more incomplete. We go to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And then Bradshaw fades back, and he throws
Bam.
a rocket right over the middle. And Jack Tatum and Frenchie Fuqua, they get there at the same time. The ball shoots off of what we think was Frenchie.
Frenchie, yes.
Yeah.
That
Jack.
created the
That was
controversy.
the controversy.
Yeah.
And Franco picks it up and goes down the sideline and picks our pocket.
Yeah, well, and also the controversy, did that ball hit the ground before Franco picked it up? But a great football game. Sorry you weren't on the winning side of that. But there are other great ones like the Ghost to the Post. You're on the winning side of that one.
Yeah, I think the first round of the 1977 playoffs, we're playing Burt Jones and the Baltimore Colts, Roger Carr, good teams.
Good team.
Yeah, and we get the ball down, I don't know, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, and we got a post call right down the middle of the field, and I make a terrible throw. I throw it on the wrong side of Casper. He kind of fades to the right, catches it straight over the top. You know how hard that is.
Yes, amen.
And he makes a great catch down inside the 10-yard line. We kick a field goal to put the game in overtime due to the
right.
Ghost to the Post game.
Yes.
And then we put the game in overtime. We win the toss. We drive down and we play pass to Casper back in the corner, and we win that first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, you used to throw some pretty passes to the post and to the corner. The timing was just impeccable with your wide receivers and your tight end and your running back. Charles Davis coming out of that backfield was pretty effective as well.
Well, you know, you play behind that group. I could have played in this outfit. They kept me really clean.
Yeah.
And then when you have guys like Freddie Biletnikoff, Casper, and Ray Chester, and Cliff Branch, as we mentioned, you know, you can do some damage if you're given the time, and with those great players, you can make some noise.
Well, quickly tell us about that Holy Roller game, man.
Well, the Holy Roller was kind of, I think, mid-season in San Diego, and we're down. I think it's a 3rd down play. I don't know that we'd be able to get off another play. And so when you go in the huddle, you have swing thoughts like a golfer. You know,
Yeah.
do this, do that. My swing thought before I walked in the huddle was, don't get trapped with the ball. Don't take a sack. And Woodrow Lowe, great linebacker from Alabama, by the way.
Hey.
Woody Lowe gets to me, and in the course of the sack, that swing thought, don't get trapped with the ball. Roll the damn thing out there. Maybe something will happen. I didn't think we'd be able to get another play off.
Right.
So you roll it out there. Pete Banaszak dives at it, pushes it down inside the 10. Casper inadvertently kicked it 3 or 4 times.
Inadvertently.
inadvertently
Kicked it 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, 3 or 4 times, and we fall on it. And,
Right.
Crazy game.
Yes, it was. Just some remarkable, those 3 games. We remember, you had many games where you took your team down, final minutes of the game to pull out victories and stuff. That was your thing. The nickname, the Snake, did that come from football or from the wrestling world?
Drew, that goes all the way back to junior high school, playing junior high school football, returning punts of all things. And I returned to punt. You know how sometimes you'll run 60 yards to cover maybe 30? Cut back. And my junior high school coach said he runs like a snake. And all of my high school and junior high school buddies picked up on that and said, hey, coach called you a snake.
Right on.
So I've been called worse, and it kind of stuck.
Well, you're a pretty good scrambler, even in the NFL before, the injuries and all that. The guys started catching up to you, right?
Well, I ran the ball a lot in school. It was a simpler time then, as you well know, and it was kind of I formation and run off tackle and play pass off tackle and run the option down the line with the ball, and I ran the ball a lot in school, and then you eventually get the old knees banged up, and it probably made me a better passer, a better player, a better quarterback when I did get hurt because it made me stay in one spot.
Well, you got your Super Bowl. I see the ring there. Catch that, guys. Tony Romo, check it out. These are what they look like. You got yours in Super Bowl 11, mine in Super Bowl 12.
We played Minnesota in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena and thumped them pretty good.
Yeah. You have a good game?
Yeah, Freddie Biletnikoff had a great game. Freddie was MVP.
Yeah.
We ran the ball. We were a bigger, stronger team than Minnesota, although they were a really good team. Carl Eller, Jim Marshall, good team. Paul Krause, Jeff Seaman, Matt Blair.
Talk to me.
Good team.
Yes.
Good, but we were stronger.
Yeah.
We ran the ball off tackle, and Clarence Davis had 120-something yards rushing. Freddie had 6 receptions for about 80 or 90 yards, but 3 of them were inside the 5. And Freddie was MVP. We had a really well-rounded, balanced attack. And like I said, we're a bigger, stronger team.
Yeah, that's the game I remember where Sammy White came across the middle there and Jack Tatum popped him. His helmet went flying and everything, right?
I thought his head was still in the helmet.
Amen. I thought he was dead.
Yeah, Jack Tatum, pound for pound, just lethal, tough safety.
Yeah, God rest his soul.
Yep.
Snake, what do you think about this year's version of the Oakland Raiders? They're coming to town on Thanksgiving to play our Dallas Cowboys.
I'm really not that close to the team. I watch them like a fan, Drew.
Yeah.
I watch the Cowboys play. I watch the league as a fan. I don't watch the Raiders as a former player. I just watch football as a big fan, and the game is so much different. The game is so much bigger.
Yes.
It's so much faster. When I played, it was a much simpler time. Run between the tackle and get the play-pass game going, and look for balance. Let's run the ball as much as we throw it. Today's game with Pryor and guys like Cam Newton and the kid in Washington.
Absolutely.
They're going to run that spread option stuff and run all over the place. I would have loved to have played in that system if I could stay in the shotgun and stay in one spot and do all of that, but not the way they have to be able to run around and move today.
Right on. I could sit here and listen to you talk stories and football all day because I suck up the quarterbacks pretty good, and you were a pretty good one to suck up to because you were one of the best, without a doubt. So finally, what is Kenny Stabler doing now? You look pretty good. You look like you can still sling it a little bit with that left hand.
I can still throw it. I just can't get out of the way anymore. My legs are terrible, but I'm retired. I live down in South Alabama. 3 daughters. I've got one here. My daughter.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. My daughter Marissa is here in Dallas, and she's a public relations exec. I have a young lawyer. Her older sister is practicing law in New Orleans. And my oldest daughter has to have twin grandsons, 15. And they're both jocks. They're playing in Scottsdale, Arizona. They're freshmen at Saguaro High School.
Wow, right on.
One's a little quarterback.
All right. Left-handed?
No, he's right-handed.
Okay.
One's a receiver, running back. And so I'm going New Orleans, Scottsdale, Dallas. New Orleans, Scottsdale, Dallas. Taking care of my daughters and making sure family's okay.
And I bet you love every minute of it, huh?
Yeah, we're having a great time with those girls.
Amen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the great Kenny Stabler. We want to thank you for taking the time to be
Drew.
with us and sharing those great
Thank you, man.
stories. This is Dallas Cowboy territory, but we respect greatness around here, and this is greatness as part of the Drew Pearson Show. We'll be right back with more after this.
All right, welcome back to the Drew Pearson Show. This week for our entertainment segment, we had one of the most special segments I think we've had on the show as far as entertainment. Now, you know I've been able to interview some of the biggest stars in the world, but there's something that was really special to us right here. We got to sit down with the band Testament, which Mark is a big fan of, Jenn's a new fan of, and you know, I saw them many, many years ago. And what we got to do is have them at 1010 Social. We got to hang out with them. We got to go to the show. And how cool are these guys?
Unbelievable. These guys were incredible. Just to see that, I'm a huge thrash metal fan, and I greatly appreciate you bringing me into that situation because one of the coolest interviews I've ever been a part of, and it's just one of my favorite bands growing up. I mean, that along with Metallica, Slayer, and they just put on an incredible show. It was really cool to hang out with them and really down to earth. One of them, the drummer, Gene Hoglan, the atomic clock from Death Clock, and every other band on the universe. Unbelievable drummer, huge Cowboys fan.
Super huge Cowboys fan.
Big shout out to him.
Yeah. You know, anyone that has Cowboys socks and a Cowboys wallet is a huge Cowboys fan.
He almost brought all of it there. He
Yeah.
almost brought everything. He's like, I didn't bring my socks, but I brought my wallet. It was hilarious.
And how great were these guys?
I mean, I was sandwiched in between the two of them, and they were like completely just like in their own little spaces, but
Oh,
they were
they
completely
loved it.
cool.
Are you kidding me?
I
Sandwiched? Oh,
I was like a sandwich of rock. I couldn't be happier. It was very exciting.
Well, and what more could you possibly want? You get a Jen Reed sandwich. I mean, like, could be worse.
and she's a huge metal fan,
I
right?
am.
I found
Absolutely.
that out. I was like, unbelievable.
It's bizarre. Looking at me, I don't look like a metal fan, but I was a very big goth fan, and like Slipknot and all those bands were definitely my favorites.
Yeah. So, right now, Testament has a new live album and DVD that's in stores in Best Buy, and we got to talk to them about that and carrying on the band for so many years and so many other things, including Cowboy socks. So let's take a look. The interview with Chuck Billy and Gene Hoglan from Testament. All right, welcome back to the Drew Pearson Show. We have a very, very special segment right now. We are joined with two of the members of Testament. We've got Gene Hoglan and Chuck Billy right here with us. So very excited. And of course, my co-host Marc Colombo, decked out in the Testament shirt.
Right. Yeah. I'm giddy right now. These guys are my heroes up here.
Yeah.
All right.
So
I'm blushing.
this is very exciting because we have Testament here on the Dark Roots of Thrash tour, which tonight they're playing at Verizon Theater, playing with Lamb of God and Killswitch Engage. So how's the tour going?
It's going great. We're about 2 weeks into it right now, and it's been a lot of fun. It's a great package. So we're seeing a lot of young kids coming out, and it's a whole new environment of young metalheads out there right now coming about. So it's been great.
Yeah, in part because of Guitar Hero, right?
I think that has a lot to do with it. You know, kids are being exposed to a lot more metal at younger ages from Guitar Hero and Rock Band and the internet, of course. So it's a good thing for heavy metal, that's for sure. So
Absolutely, and of course Death Clock, which Gene is a part of. So
Oh, yeah.
and Mark is a big fan. So that's got to be exciting too for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll tell you what's exciting is being here.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. Oh, that's cheap.
And
No, seriously.
he's not even being sarcastic. We were actually talking on the way over. Gene is a massive Cowboys fan. As you can see,
Lifelong.
he's got the shirt.
Absolutely.
And you also have Cowboys socks
I've got it all.
and a wallet.
I've got the wallet. I've got the socks. I've got the backpacks. I've got every shirt imaginable. I've got it. I've got the slippers. You name it. My lady, I buy her everything. So, yeah, I've got it all. So I'm a lifelong, absolute diehard. This is an absolute honor to be here for me.
Yeah.
Chuck, not so much.
I give him grief on the bus. I see
All the
him
time.
packing up, walking down the hall, and he's got his Cowboys backpack on, and I'm like, nice pack there, Jane.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and you got to put on Drew Pearson's Super Bowl ring.
I did. How awesome was that?
Yeah.
That was amazing. I was getting chills. Like, that was like I was telling Mr. Pearson, that was the first Super Bowl that I got to see them win. You know, because I was 10 years old, 27-10, over the Orange Crush. That was the greatest day in my life. Like, absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, and also, this isn't the first time that you've run into Mark. Actually, Mark, for those viewers that don't know, let's give a little background on your metal roots.
Well, I started a band with Corey Proctor and Leonard Davis, of the Cowboys, as you know. And we did an award show. We got most metal athletes at the Revolver 2011 Golden God Awards.
That's right.
And I got to meet Chuck. It was unbelievable. We did a cover spread, and I really got to meet my idols there. And I was just like I am now, like a little kid, red, just running around. And it was really cool to be among the likes of great musicians like these guys. And that was what a cool experience that was.
Yeah,
awesome. That was great. That was a great event. When you were there, I was kind of blown away that these guys are like, man, that's it, metal.
Yeah, we tried. We listened to you growing up. That's how we. We tried to live up to your guys' reputation. I know it's not
what
even
do you
close.
play in the band?
I play guitar, I play rhythm, and I sing. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Free reign.
All right.
No,
Free reign.
that's right.
Free reign.
absolutely.
No testament, but free reign.
And of course, we have to congratulate you. Well, first of all, you've got a new live album and DVD that's in Best Buy.
Yeah, it came out last on the 29th. And it's a live show we did in February in New York. And it's a doubled CD and DVD set. And it's really good. Any metalhead out there has to have it in their collection because it is real good. It's one of them things you just put in your home stereo, crank it up, invite the friends over, and go nuts.
Yeah. Well, and previous to that, your last album that you're
Dark Roots of Earth.
that entered at number 12 on the Billboard charts. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And actually even higher on the worldwide charts, right?
Yeah, world charts it came in at number 9.
Yeah.
So
Pretty amazing. So this is actually a really exciting time because people just keep discovering the band over and over again, and of course now you've got the internet and things like Guitar Hero, and everything's just kind of propelling you guys along. So it's got to be an exciting time to still keep it going.
It is right now, especially for us in our career. We've had the opportunity to have the original guys rejoin the group back in 2005. So it actually makes it a little more special to have, some of the guys that are back in the group from when we started this thing, because we want to feel like almost like we're getting to see it all the way through to the end together. So makes it a little more special. So it's good times right now for Testament.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
What is next for you guys?
Well, we're finishing this tour Thanksgiving, and then January we're going to start writing a new record right away. It's time for another one. So
I just go, hell yeah, new record, let's go. New Testament album this many years later, unbelievable. But I want to go all the way back to, we're talking late 80s, I'm talking Legacy, New Order.
Yeah.
What are some of the older songs you guys like to play and, you have on a set list consistently?
Well, on this tour,
You're gonna love this.
it's a great set, but on this tour, it was tough because we have 40-minute set, and we have over 100 songs to choose from, so it's very difficult to pick what you want to do. So it started out putting some of just the current records, and then we decided, okay, we're going to get in front of some new young fans out there. Let's hit them with what we do best, and the early thrash metal, what it was. So it's a lot of stuff, mostly off the New Order record, which is, I think, one of our better records. That's the first record I really got to contribute as a songwriter.
You could tell, too, the bass lines. I mean, it's clearly different than Legacy. Some of the songs like Trial by Fire, I hear the bass line early in the song, and it's just really incredible the step you guys took from Legacy to New Order.
Yeah, and those seem to be the standout songs that really stand on their own. So there's, I think, 4 songs in the set off of the New Order, out of 7 or 8 that we're playing. And they go over really well. The crowd really is into them, especially like songs like Into the Pit. We play the New Order and Disciples of the Watch. And the kids, they just are going nuts on it. So it's been really good. Really having a good time with it.
Mark, I think you need to bring your kids.
Oh, man, unbelievable.
It's never too early for
it isn't. I seen a 5-year-old on the shoulders of his father
other
last night in the crowd. So I'm throwing him my picks and my wristbands and stuff and sticks. And
Nice. You guys will be around for a lot longer the way you guys are still kicking butt out there.
I hope so.
And you guys are actually even more productive now. I think you're starting to put out albums even more frequently, right?
Yeah, I just think there got a little stagnant in the '90s and metal wasn't as strong, and I think since we've been back together, we've been touring a lot more, putting out records a lot quicker, and opportunities have been there for us. So it's like we're take it while it's there and just do everything we can and try to play everywhere we can that anybody wants to have us perform. We're there, and so it's a good time. Like I said,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're so excited to have you guys on the show. Looking forward to having you guys on again because we could probably keep this discussion going forever, but we've got to get back to the rest of the show. So we're going to bring it right back to you, Drew. Let's give a big round of applause, the audience here. For All right, back to you, Drew.
And how cool was that?
Unbelievable. And who would have found out later that they would have played The New Order, one of my favorite thrash metal albums of all time. They played 7 songs, 5 of them off of New Order. I thought that was incredible. What a great experience.
Yeah. I feel bad for anybody that's near Mark during a concert when he
He's
hears
got
the
his
songs
he's
that
got
he
his
loves,
rock fingers up, and he's
the
like,
flying limbs.
Get out of my way.
And we want to give a special shout out to Greg Christian, the bass player, for letting Mark play on his bass a little while.
I got to play it a little bit. It was unbelievable. What a cool
slapping
guy.
the bass, slapping the bass.
Slapping the bass.
Hey.
What a cool guy. Let me play around with it a little before the show. I don't know if that sounded. That was a
It's
little.
fine. You're totally
it's fine.
straight.
We're
It's
good.
fine.
Yeah.
You're
Jenn
good.
sandwich, and I played
I know
with it
what
a
you're
little.
talking about.
Sandwiches.
It was very fun, very cool, and I appreciate it. And he rocked on stage.
Absolutely. So if you want to see more metal segments like this, which I think you do, let's hear from you. At Drew Pearson on Twitter and Facebook. You can find us. Let's hear from you. Who do you want on there? Let's have some more metal sandwiches going on.
Metal sandwiches.
Yeah. There it
And
is.
go.
Back to you, Drew.
All right, as the Drew Pearson Show continues to roll on, right here at Henry's Tavern, we got a packed house here tonight. And if you're not here, you're missing it. But we'll be here next week, so come on out and see us. And now we're going to go to our media, our social media segment. This guy sitting next to me, you know him already. This is Michael Nast, our social media director. And he's been taking your calls and your questions via Facebook, via Twitter, YouTube, what else?
Google Plus.
Google Plus, and taking also votes for this week's Drew Pearson Show MVP, who they think is the MVP coming out of Sunday's game against the Minnesota Vikings. How's the votes been coming in, and who looks like the winner there, Michael Nast?
It was tied for a while. Then we put out another tweet for some more votes, and it was tied between Romo and Witten, and Tony Romo prevailed.
Tony Romo got it this week. So Tony Romo's MVP for the Drew Pearson Show, voted by you, the fan, via Twitter through the Drew Pearson Show. Michael Nast, what else you got for me? You got any good questions or anything
Yes,
going on?
We've got some great questions on Twitter this week. Chris Dunnington on Twitter asked, what do you think is going on with the running game? And Robert Canas adds, is it the O-line or the running backs?
Well, you know, the running game is a little anemic right now, to say the least. And I think the Cowboys are just kind of concentrating on doing what they need to do to win a football game. They're really not focusing on that. Last week against Minnesota, Vikings have a pretty good defensive line with Kevin Williams, Robinson, and Jared Allen. So very difficult to run. Maybe that was a factor. And maybe the offensive line without Brian Waters in there is not the same. So we'll see if they could get it together. And maybe they also wanted to protect DeMarco Murray a little bit since he's just coming back off injury. I got a feeling against the Saints, they'll open up that running game.
A win's a win, right?
Hey, a win is a win. Go Cowboys. They beat the Vikings and didn't even need a Hail Mary to do it.
Yeah.
Amen. What do you got?
Mike, who is Mo Beakus 23 on Twitter, says, what do you think the boys need to do to win the division, and any guess on what their final record will be?
Well, what they got to do, Michael, is just kind of concentrate on their own stuff, take care of their own business. You know, they got a tough schedule coming up in the second half of the season, some pretty good quarterbacks. They're playing Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, RG3, Eli Manning, just to name a few. You know, and that kid up in Philadelphia, Nick Foles, threw 7 touchdowns yesterday. So they got their work cut out, but I think if they just take care of their own business, let everything else fall into place as far as what the other teams do, then I think they'll all be all right once the season ends. They look up and they'll say, oh, man, we're in the playoffs.
And what do you think their record will be at the end of the year?
I think their record will be 10-6 at the end of the year, so they're going to win 5 more games. Wow,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
They're going to have to sweep the NFC East because I think we can take a mulligan on the Saints and Green Bay, right?
Yes, sir. Well, we've swept them thus far,
Yeah.
so hopefully that broom motion action will continue in a sweeping form. Michael Nast, what else you got for me?
The final question is from the Sports Girl, which is Beth Sports Girl. What's your take on Dez?
Well, Sports Girl, my take on Dez, I see a young guy developing, maturing both on and off the field, and there's no question he's our biggest threat, our biggest weapon on offense as we try to move the ball downfield. I was glad to see them throwing the ball a little bit more to Jason Witten because in doing that, that'll relieve some of the coverage off of Dez Bryant, and he'll be able to continue to make plays. He's got to control his emotions just a little. We all know about the passion and all that. We all had passion when we played, but you're a professional. Sometimes you got to control it because there's a lot of cameras, a lot of people watching you. But Dez is coming on. He's going to be a Pro Bowl receiver this year.
Do you think he really forgot that you couldn't take your helmet off, or was that just a lame excuse?
Well, if he did forget, he needed to get in the rule book and start studying what the rules are, because that's been a rule in the National Football League for at least a few years.
And college, too.
Right,
Yeah.
and college, too, right?
Well, that wraps up our questions from Twitter and Facebook and all social media. Just remember, every Monday, tweet your questions to Just Ask Drew, hashtag. And you can vote for the Dallas Cowboy MVP of the game in the preceding week with the hashtag DPS MVP on Twitter. And follow the Drew Pearson Show on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Google+.
DPS MVP.
DPS MVP.
There you go. Well, that's going to wrap up this segment, but it's also going to wrap up this edition of the Drew Pearson Show, coming to you again from Henry's Tavern. We had a great show. We want to thank everybody that's a part of it, including the great snake, Kenny Stabler, for being a part of this edition of the Drew Pearson Show. We'll see you next time.